importance of it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not be healthy, but how can we change that healthy habit? Whether it's going to bed earlier or not, whatever that may look like. It's not about being fit.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Joe in the Know. Today's guest, we have Miss Bely Marino. It's been a long time coming. We've been trying to do this podcast for, I don't know, like 7 months or something like that, I think, and something always gets in the way. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. So let the audience know a little bit about you. I know quite a bit about you, but fill me in on the gaps here.
It sounds great. Thank you so much for having me here. Finally, I feel like this was never going to happen, but so yes, I'm Bely Marino. I have lived in Wilkes County for a little over 20 years. I'm originally from Miami, Florida. Wilkes is home and where I love to spend all of my time at, besides traveling some. I've been in education. I work for Wilkes County Schools, currently at Central Wilkes Middle, teaching 8th grade science. Been in education for 16 years now. It's my passion. And I've been part of Weave Wilkes as the Wilkes County liaison for about 2.5 years. And now we're our official nonprofit organization with a 501c3 with our Wilkes County co-ed league. So yeah, staying very busy, very happy, and doing all the things.
Yeah, you've been doing a lot. I see you always posting stuff and always doing stuff like that. So let's talk about, you said you're originally from Florida.
Correct.
So how'd you wind up here in Wilkes County?
Well, funny thing is I ended up in Ashe County, which is a even smaller community.
Yes.
When I was a senior in high school, transitioning from junior year to senior year, my summer, that summer of 2002, my parents decided to transition our home to our vacation home. So we sold the house in Miami, born and raised there, and moved to our cabin. And I lived there for about, I would say, 3 to 4 years. Went to Wilkes Community College for undergrad, then transferred to ASU, and went to Appalachian for about 6 years. Undergrad, or bachelor's, master's, administration degree, all of it. So
cool.
Yeah, big transition.
Yes.
Huge transition.
Yes, it is. So I guess that's when you decided you wanted to go into education and you found your way down here in Wilkes.
Yes, I had no doubt in what I wanted to do. I started the path through Wilkes Community College. At the time, all the classes didn't align as well with the transferring to a university, but it was a great experience. And then once I started at Appalachian, I started in the education field. I actually did my student teaching here in Wilkes. So I knew that Wilkes was going to be like my official home. And I actually didn't live on campus. I lived in Wilkes. So I just commuted back and forth. And it worked out really well. Yeah. I started to build a community here within the school system. And that was my goal and what I really wanted. So started off at Moravian Falls Elementary School, and then transferred to the North District. And now I'm back home at Central. So it's a great kind of like circle. And it just it feels really good.
Yeah, good. So let's talk about when you were well, I first met you when you were at Moravian Falls, actually.
Yeah, that's
I ran
right.
into you there.
Yes.
But we didn't really know each other then at that point. And then when you were at Mulberry, that's when I really got to know you a little more. And we would talk quite often when you were there.
Yep.
And you got it. I think, what all things were you involved with there? What did you teach?
So when I started my second year of teaching, I was invited to Coach Goes on the Run. Mm-hmm. And I was like, guys, I'm just trying to learn how to teach right now. I need to just chill. But I immediately picked it up. And that was, I was there for 6 years. So I spent 5 years coaching Goes on the Run. And then the following year, Science Olympiad. So I kept coaching that throughout my whole career until I transitioned to like a multi-classroom leader coach outside of the county. So I think that was a good 12, 13 years of coaching Girls on the Run. And honestly, the perfect way to describe it was I love teaching, right? It's my passion. But with Girls on the Run, it was like my happy place just because there's so much like education within like outside of school settings that you can really focus on with the girls, like emotional health, how to be confident, how to make healthy choices, whether that's, going home and walking around your backyard doing yard work or running on the track. And the best thing about it was it wasn't just about running. It was all about your pace and your goals. And it's focusing on every person has a different goal. Even if you and I are running a race, it's you against the clock. You're not really trying to beat me. It's what you're setting your goal to. Yeah. And that's something that's really hard because everyone wants to be first, right? I mean, I do. When I ran the communities in schools, race, I wanted to be first. I wanted that trophy. But really, in my mind, I wanted to beat my previous race. So it instills so many core lessons. And I think a lot of girls, when they're on that path of like, hey, I have this awesome teacher, I want to be best friends with her, they know they can't, it bothers them. But then when they transition to being in an outside setting where they're working out and just eating healthy snacks, like, okay, I can bond with them on a different level. So I think that was very rewarding. And every year I found out about the Health Foundation, how they do great things for our community. And I wrote a grant every season and they fully funded. So the girls never had to pay for their registration fee. I would purchase the snacks. And then if anyone needed shoes, I would buy their shoes. And it was pretty amazing for that.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something very important you said about not comparing yourself to other people and where other people are.
Right.
Compare yourself to being better today than you were yesterday.
That's
setting
what it's
that
all
new
about.
PR, always trying to improve on yourself instead of comparing yourself to whoever's out there.
Right.
And I think that's something very important, and people need to focus on that a little more than
And it's hard.
trying to keep up with the Joneses, as they say.
Exactly. And that's something that as educators and teachers, like we try to instill in students, but it's really hard. We have a curriculum and we're trying to focus on that. So this program just kind of helps form, the importance of it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not be healthy, but how can we change that healthy habit? Whether it's going to bed earlier or not, whatever that may look like. It's not about being fit. And that's what society's trying to make us all feel like. So it's about what's healthy for you.
Exactly.
So that's how the whole
Very
community
important.
building started, I think, for me, how that path started. So it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, you were staying pretty busy. So
Yeah.
how did you get involved with Weave? I think that was kind of the next
Yeah.
chapter here.
So about 3.5 years ago, Michael Cooper was one of the Wilkes County liaisons for the Weave Aspen Institute. And he was living in Raleigh at the time. I think he still is. But he texted me. He's like, hey, I have someone I want to bring to your classroom. Can I stop in? And I said, sure. So he brought one of the directors to my room and we just kind of like chatted about all the things I was doing. Girls on the Run was a huge topic, Science Olympiad. At the time, I had written like 6 grants for my school and all of them had been fully funded. And she asked me how that occurred and the path that I took to get there. And she's like, by the way, we're giving our first cycle of awards to anybody in the community that's making a difference. And I feel like you would highly qualify. So I would like for you to apply. So immediately I filled out the application and my grant was for STEM. I was teaching 5th grade science. So I wanted all of my students to learn hands-on. And that's very expensive to purchase like all the materials needed for 110 kids, once a week, let's say. So yeah, I was awarded that money and then immediately started to attend their monthly gatherings and keep up with like what Weave is. And then I think a year from there, they opened up an application for 2 new liaisons because their goal was to have different liaisons each year. And Greg Brady and I, the owner of Anchor Coffee, I'm really good friends with his wife. I taught with her and he had applied and I didn't know that. And I applied. So then we found out that we both applied, we both interviewed and we were both hired for the position. So it was a pretty sweet package because we worked really well together. So that was only supposed to last a year. And the grant that was given for Wilkes County to receive all this funding, over $75,000 to put into the community, the cycle was going to end in a year. But the donor for the grant was like, wait, things are going really well, reflected on all of our feedback, and they extended it for another 1.5 years. So that cycle just ended in October. So it was incredible because at first our main goal when we did the Weave the People, it was all about like, okay, who can we find? We had 21 awards that we can give out from $2,500 to $5,000. Who can we find that's making a difference? So that took a big core of like 6-7 months of the beginning of it. So we hosted gatherings, meetings, and we were just putting the word out there, going around the community seeking like, okay, what are you doing? And is this something that you can apply for? So the hardest thing was telling people who we are and what our goal was. And now I think we've just transitioned to everyone's just like speaking about what Weave is and what Weave has been doing. And that's just like such a blessing because it's just kind of like all been laid out perfectly.
Yeah. So you said in October, what ended in October?
The funding that was given for the second cycle of awards. So the first one was, I think, 22 awardees, and the second one was 21 awardees. And not only did we fund 21 awardees for something that they're doing in the community, but they also gave money for us to have our gatherings. Our Wilkes County Co-ed League was fully funded through Weave. And now that has transitioned over to the nonprofit that is now considered Weave Wilkes.
Okay. So that's when you set up Weave Wilkes.
Mm-hmm.
And you started the 501c3.
Correct. And we are officially a nonprofit organization. So it's very exciting. And it happened in such an incredible way. We have a lot of athletic people in the community, but we also have people that cannot participate in a sport because either one, they've never played a sport in school or in college, or they feel like they're not athletic enough, or they can't play because there's not a sporting league, right? So when someone posted on, one of my really good friends posted on YouTube, not on YouTube, it was Instagram, is there a co-ed league in the district? And I immediately messaged her. I was like, no, but let's make this happen. So I spoke to my directors and I'm like, hey, this is something the community is interested in. Can I work on building this? And she's like, absolutely. I put out a survey poll on Facebook and I said, if you're interested in joining a league and this is something that you've been looking forward to, like, check yes or no. And I think we had almost 380 votes for yes.
Oh, wow.
So we just started the planning. It was kind of crazy. I was sitting at Anchor Coffee talking with Greg, and we were just brainstorming ideas of what we can do. We had so much funding left. And Tiger Posey from North Wilkesboro Parks and Rec came in, and he's like, what are y'all doing? I'm like, trying to figure out how to spend all this money. So within that, I told him I wanted to start a league. So I partnered with him and North Wilkesboro Parks and Rec. Phenomenal group of people. They immediately said, let's make it happen. So our home base is at Woodlawn Community Center. We meet every Monday, 6 to 8. And during the winter months, so when it's, it gets dark early or if it rains. And then spring, summer, and early fall, we're at all over the district on different fields. But our home base is Woodlawn. And with that being said, we hired a mural artist, and they've just painted a gorgeous mural on the gym walls. And we met with about 20 different community members with the artist to kind of just discuss what Wilkes is and what it means to them, the history of the school. And they tied all of that feedback into a painting. And we did the ribbon cutting for that in October at the very end of our grant cycle. So it was a beautiful moment.
Yeah. That's really cool. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna have to look into that. I'm gonna have to go track down this mural. I need to try and get involved and see if I can come play.
Yeah. I don't know. The best thing about it is that we play a different sport every 4 weeks, right? Okay. And people come that have, like, we're playing volleyball right now. We have people that have never played volleyball before, but they never feel intimidated or scared or nervous because there's no judgment, right? Whether you're an athlete or you're not, it's totally fine. It's just about having fun. And most of the times, like, we leave and, like, our cheeks hurt, like we're sore from laughing because quite literally that's what we do. Even if you make a mistake, it's all about having fun. So, yeah. And we do have, like, a consistency of, like, 20 to 30 people each Monday. That varies because, people travel or life happens, but there's never like, you're required to come every week or every month. It's like you come when you come, you bring new people. It's all about growing. And that's something that I think we've done really well with is every week we have new members come, and that we do have a sign-up sheet, and it's $10 for the whole entire physical year. And there's like a waiver, for safety purposes and for information. But that money does not come to Weave Wilkes. It goes straight to the Parks and Recs. So that's just something that we wanted it to be a very free, cheap cost. And I think that going back into the community. Correct.
Yeah. $10 for a year. I mean, you can't beat that. Yeah, so what all sports do you play?
So what we started off with dodgeball. Who would have thought dodgeball was like the hit and our like safety place? Like every time it rains, everybody wants to do dodgeball. So much fun. Brings all the nostalgic memories from elementary school. We've done kickball. And like I said, 4 weeks of sport. We ended up doing kickball for almost 10 weeks last summer because it was like a blast. We had like the bleachers full of people that don't like to play, and they would just come and watch us play. So we had a cheerleading squad.
So they get their comedy there, huh?
Yes. Yeah, all the things. Let's see, what else have we done? We've done basketball, flag football. We did speedball, which is a mixture of football, soccer, and basketball in the gym. It was a lot of fun. Not anything I'd ever played before. Let's see what else. Indoor soccer, and right now we're doing volleyball. Oh, pickleball.
Oh, so y'all do pickleball as well.
Yes, that was a lot of fun. So, one sport that we haven't done yet is the disc golf. Disc golf.
Yeah,
I don't really know much about.
I don't know a lot about disc golf either.
Softball. Let's see what else. Oh, we're gonna do badminton, not badminton. The wiffle ball, which is very similar to like softball, but a fun like different way of doing it. So
yeah, you can kind of play that either indoor or outdoor.
Right.
So.
And the cool thing about it is, like, of course, if it was up to me, I would have been playing softball since day one for like lots of weeks. But it's all about community input. So at the end of every sport, instead of us saying like, okay, our next sport is, we put it out in the community on Facebook, and I ask everyone at the gym, okay, here are some options. What do y'all want to do? And 100% of the time we choose the preference of the next sport. And if they want to continue going with that sport, then we do. Like, we've only had 1 week of volleyball, and already that at the end of that night, everyone's like, do we just have to do 4 weeks? And I was like, if y'all want to do more, I'll secure the field for longer, and we continue doing more. We're playing at River's Edge, so it's like a sand-based court. So it makes you feel like you're, at the beach. We have the reggae music playing. So it's a good vibe. It's a good time.
That's really cool. Mm-hmm. So y'all travel around to just different places?
Depending on the sport, yes. And in addition to that, we still meet once a month, and all of our monthly gatherings are like a theme. So we do a potluck. Like, for example, on Tuesday of next week is our April monthly gathering. So what happens in April in Wilkes County, that's huge. Merle Fest. Mm-hmm. So I bought tie-dye to have anybody that wants to come in. We're going to do a jam fest. And so if you want to come and play an instrument on Tuesday or sing, or anybody that wants to play an instrument or sing, you are totally welcome to. Or if you just want to come and have a cup of coffee or a beverage and watch it all unfold.
That might be better for everyone involved. But,
so that's Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a singer or an instrument player. I'm not very good at those things.
Well, it's also a good time. So we're doing potluck. And like I said, the theme is Jam Fest. So kick off to Merle Fest. And if you want to bring a shirt, a bandana, a hat, socks, anything, you can tie-dye at Anchor. And last month we did something very springy where we did painting on a canvas, and the people did flowers. So each month is a different theme. Right now we're providing all the materials and hosting a craft for each month, but we're just taking donations for it to all go to Weave Wilkes.
Cool. Mm-hmm. So you said you meet once a month, mm-hmm. every month?
Yes.
Where do you meet at?
So our home base for that is always Anchor Coffee.
Okay.
With Greg being my partner in Weave and him owning the coffee shop. It's a very convenient place, but it's also what everyone prefers. It's a cozy environment. There's plenty of room. And then we also like to switch it up. So we've done a lot of our events at the Commons of Carolina West Commons. They've been wonderful with us to work with. We've had a Weaving Generations Festival there that we did last summer. We've had actually monthly gatherings there where we just kind of like sit on the lawn and eat and chat. We go to Merle's a lot. So something that the community put out that they were wanting was parallel play. So when you think of parallel play, you think of like preschoolers, right? Moving from station to station. But with this is just like, if you have a craft that you prefer, like we did craft night. If you have a craft that you like doing, whether it's sewing, knitting, making necklaces, Legos, whatever the case may be, you can come and then just like chat and communicate with other people.
Right.
And so that was at Anchor. And then we had game night where everybody brought their games, their choice of games. And it was pretty cool because it was our first one we did, and we did it at Merle's, and it was warm weather. We sat on the patio area, and everyone had their own games, and everybody was playing on their own table. And then by the end of the night, everyone came together and sat at a huge picnic table, and we played like a card game. And it was cool because we all see each other at league and at different events, but we had never actually like bonded on that level. So just different ways of like just bringing the community together and having a safe place where people want to communicate with other community members that they may not do on a regular basis. I clearly don't have a hard time speaking to anyone or talking to a wall.
No, you're doing a good job.
Right. But it's hard when you're an adult because when you have like when you're on your routine, like even if you go out to dinner or let's say you go to a movie or to an event, like people don't often like socialize with others and ask like, hey, what do you do? Tell me about Joe in the Know. Like, what do you do for a living? Those kinds of conversations don't often come up. So that was our goal from the very beginning, is like having people share what they're doing and how we can all like collaborate together. It's like a big web, right? And the coolest thing about our group is that not one person, well, maybe a couple, but not one person all has the same degree or field of work, not even a degree. So we have such a huge collaboration, and it actually works out so beautifully when we have to like figure things out. For example, the other day we were trying to figure out something for an event. So everyone had all hands on deck because they all work in a different field. Like, Becca with the food truck. She's like, well, I can come and bring the food truck. And then we can communicate with someone else who was able to spread all the flyers because they were going to a board meeting and had all the connections there. So it's pretty epic how everything just kind of works so amazing. But that wouldn't happen if you were just hanging out with like your typical group of friends, if that makes sense.
And everybody's involved in the same things, has the same interests.
Right.
Yeah, that's really intriguing. Y'all seem to have a really, really good thing going on there.
Yeah, it's been incredible. Really neat. And I think it takes a village, right? Like Greg and I had all these great ideas, like all the things we wanted to do. But we had to step back and think, okay, we may want to do all these things because we're very outdoorsy. We love being active. We love staying busy. But it's not going to work if the community doesn't want it to work. So one other thing that we do on a monthly basis is at every event, so Tuesday, I will ask the whole entire group of whoever comes, like, what is needed right now? For example, we do an outreach every month. So right now we are collecting items for the Recovery Revolution, and we've been collecting them for about a month and a half, but I've extended it until May because it's been such an incredible turnout of materials, donations that are needed. So it's almost like, some people want to feel like they're contributing back to the community. And that's the way, like if you come to one of our events, it's not required. You could just spread the word, but you're allowed to bring donations for the cause. So we've helped with the recovery of Hurricane Helene. We spent a long time doing a lot for that. And that was incredible how we didn't have to sit and contemplate how and what are we doing. It just kind of all unfolded. And the Justice Project with how they feed the whole community, especially in the summertime, and they have their food pantry. I don't know if you've heard of them, but that's Greg's parents that run that. Helping Hands with the hunger. We did a lot with the homeless, especially when they were removed from their current living area. So I think it's just amazing how people come to us and say, hey, this is needed. How can you help? And that's our goal, because it's all about working together, collaborating.
Exactly. And over the next 5 years, what would you like to accomplish? Where do you see yourself?
Well, that's a challenging question because things have been going so well. But of course, I think our main goal from the beginning to where we are now is to continue expanding and growing. One thing I would like to see is we try to do a lot of delegating, right? Like sitting back and saying, hey, this is what we want to happen. How can we all now work together to make it happen? So I would like to see more of that. I think it's slowly happening where everyone's wanting to chip in, which, it's hard when we all have jobs and things to do, but also seeking ways to find more funding. Right now, I've written 3 grants through the 501c3, now that we're a nonprofit, to purchase more equipment for our league, to host more events and things that we would need funding for. We started off purchasing food for the community, where we would go to like different restaurants, local restaurants, to support local, and we would feed everyone that came to our events. Now it's like potluck, obviously, and I think that's been actually more successful because people love a potluck meal. So I would love to see our Weave Wilkes grow and just expand in more ways that we probably didn't even think possible, with just more ideas and yeah, just how we can continue to grow our community.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
What's one statement or one word of advice that you would give to somebody that's looking to get involved in the community or something like that? What's something you would say to them?
Ask all the questions. At the very beginning of when Wilkes Weave took place and transitioned over to Greg and I being the liaison, one thing that we really struggled with was misconceptions, right? Assuming that we were doing something or not knowing what we were doing. And when we would have like those misconceptions be stated on social media or wherever the case may be, we were not offended by no means. We were just like, hey, come and check us out. Like, come see what we're doing, because it's all about us, right? It's not just him and I. It's not just me. It's all about us. So ask the questions, share the idea, and communicate. Always, always communicate. I feel like that's key to everything. because with communication and reaching out, that's how you grow in anything. So ask the questions and yeah, just reach out to us and see how we can work together.
You're exactly right. Communication, that's a key to success in everything. And unfortunately, a lot of times that's the failure point too. So,
and it's hard. It's a hard thing. I've always been talking as a teacher. I feel like I talk all the time, probably too much, but it's also overwhelming to see in such a positive way how comfortable people feel when they come into our space. And it's people that don't often talk in public. And there's that vulnerability of sharing how they feel or what they're wanting to be seen in the community. We've had about, I would say, 10 new members join us within the last year. And their statements are always like, I haven't had a niche in this community. I've lived here my whole life. And I finally feel like I'm part of something. So it's just coming to hear the stories makes all the difference.
So tell everybody where they can find you. And
Sure. Facebook, Weave Wilkes. Instagram, Weave Wilkes. And I'm Bely Marino on Facebook. And that's probably the easiest way to communicate with us. And yeah, just follow our page and check us out.
Sounds good. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and it's been a blast.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
Thank
good
you
to
so
touch
much.
base with you and
So
get to know what you got going on.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.